ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ नित्यानित्यवस्तुविवेकः कः? नित्यवस्तु एकं ब्रह्म तद्व्यतिरिक्तं सर्वम् अनित्यम् अयमेव नित्यानित्यवस्तुविवेकः। विरागः कः? इह स्वर्गभोगेषु इच्छाराहित्यम्। So after the viveka in this sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, I mean the fourfold qualifications for gaining self-knowledge. So one is over, viveka. One should have the capacity to discriminate the things. That's all the thing is, because of the confusion. The human problem is a problem of a confusion, basically. All human problems, psychological problems, everything ultimately has this. And a spiritual problem, we turn into a spiritual problem. In fact, all social problems and all that ultimately has a root in this. It's right now not a time to discuss, but any kind of a human problem is ultimately a fundamental problem of a self-confusion. So by solving that, all the problems get as though solved. Not that like society, there is a difference between and poor and rich. Swamiji, if I get knowledge, or everyone gets knowledge, this problem of poor and rich, etc. this kind of a differences will go away to an extent. Yeah, to an extent it goes away. Because that selfish attitude, it's a result of attachment and everything, definitely drops. To the extent you become more generous to the people, you become more forgiving, you become more accommodative, everything. So ultimately even social problem also has a root here. But basically a problem of a self-confusion which leads to emotional problems. Those problems will be solved. And now in that viveka, after that we have a vairagyam. So viraga means absence of raga. V means vitam, vitaha. Vitaha means gone, which has gone. And ragaha means a longing. So from whom this raga has gone, the absence of raga or longing is called viraga. And raga can mean a simple desire or it can mean an intense desire also, either way. So if it is an intense desire, means it is born of something, it is always born of, it implies, intense desire indicates that you see something there which is not there. That's all. If you have an intense desire for anything, you see something valuable in that. Then Swamiji, if it valuable is there, then I am seeing valuable. If it is valuable, I see it valuable. No. It has a certain value, objective value is there, but in your mind the value has increased. There is a value addition. And when value addition occurs, it will fascinate you, definitely. Anything which you put a more value, then it will fascinate you. And then you will have a desire. Then it is not a simple desire, it's an intense desire, called longing also. That's what it means. And the various examples are given that we have desire for various things, but all are not longings. That's all. We should know this. And therefore, very desire is a mother of, in India, in some of the city buses, they used to put some good sentences, on the body of that. So on the back of it, on the back side of the bus, there is one sentence that the desire is a mother of all the problems. Well, that's not correct. Because Bhagavan himself said, that is my vibhuti. Means I am in the form of desire, Bhagavan says. So, dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamaha asmi, in 10th chapter, in Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter it is there. Kamaha aham asmi. I am the desire. Dharma aviruddha, definitely, which is not, which is in conformity to the structure, etc. But Bhagavan says that, and all human progress is just due to desire. How will you otherwise make a progress? Unless you want to create this, how the creation takes place. So there is a desire behind the creation. And everything here, what we have, is a human desire, manifestation of human desire. So desire is not a wrong thing. Therefore, we should know, if they say there is an absence of a desire or a longing, then it must be something else. Something else means absence of intense desire, we should say. Absence of desire, we should not say. Because I have a desire for food, right? When I'm hungry, I have a desire for food. Well, you say viraga is a qualification, I should not have a desire for food. You cannot survive. So that kind of a thing is not told. And absence of intense desire only has been talked here. Same way for money also we have a desire. That's also allowed. Desire for money is good thing. You should have money. In fact, more money. Puja Swamiji used to tell you should have more money. And somebody with more money goes, and Swamiji, I want to acquire this corporation now, this big corporation. Yeah, go ahead. Then, being a Vedanta teacher, he should tell, no, please put a break now. Come back. No, but he doesn't say. You should do. Because once you have an objective value of a money or wealth, well, then you will not be entangled. You will not have that fascination for the wealth. And wealth is definitely useful for the society. And that's how people who are, generous, that's how the things are built and everything. So it is, all the facilities are created because somebody has donated something and all that. So it is not wrong. Only thing is, we are fascinated by the wealth because I have a value addition for the wealth. What is that value addition? What value I am seeing in the wealth which is not there? Well, security. You consider that this is a source of security. That's a value addition. It's not a source of security. And therefore, the value which is superimposed upon the wealth, by which you get fascinated with it, and then you have a strong desire for this. And therefore, money has a buying power. Definitely that currency has a buying power, unless it is demonetized. Then if it is demonetized, it's a piece of paper only. But otherwise it has a buying power, and you can buy the things for you or for somebody or anything. That's a good thing. But if you look upon it as a source of security, well, you are putting a extra value on it, which is not. And therefore, otherwise, if it is a source of security, when everyone comes in contact with the money, everyone should feel secure. But I have told you example, and there are people who want to give up also the wealth because that becomes a source of threat to the life also. Sometimes it becomes a source of threat to the life. So people say, you take away, but leave me alone. That is how. So, and it is happening especially in the very rich families, it becomes a cause of feud also in between. It's tremendous. So anyway, therefore it is not a source of security. It has a buying power. You can buy the things for your livelihood, etc. Well, that is good. But other than that, it's just a value addition. So it's then you have given a money, a objective value. As an object, it has a certain value. And why, Swamiji, any object, do you think any object has a value? Yeah. Everything has a value. I mean, everything serves a purpose. Therefore, it has a value. And in the creation, we say everything serves a purpose. Consider the worst thing for us, for a human being, let's say, anything, may be good for, may be purposeful for other living beings also. It is said in the science that, the thing which is having no purpose for any living being would not survive. It extincts in course of time. But it serves a purpose, things are there, therefore it must be serving some purpose for somebody, some living being, and therefore it has a value. It's called objective value. Other than that, mind superimposes upon that. Well, you have to come out of it. If you come out of it, you have a value of now you have a qualification called vairagyam, dispassion. So there are two kinds of superimposition. Now because we have superimposing value, extra value. See, one superimposition which we always talk about, and that is a superimposition of a snake on a rope, or superimposition of this body on the self, right? So that is how we are seeing this is called self-confusion. So that is one kind of a superimposition. This another kind of a superimposition is in which, you add a value to things in which it is, of course, which is not there at all. That is also superimposition. This is a superimposition upon a value and on a particular thing. And whereas in the superimposition which talk about in Vedanta is one thing is taken for other. So this is a difference between the two. So so if you take the value, if you take the money as a more valuable than what it has as an object, then definitely you have a subjective value. You have a lack of dispassion, you can say, and you have to come down. You have to take away the value which you have superimposed upon it. So it means if vairagyam will be more, you will live in an objective world more compared to the subjective world, and that would be definitely bring a joy in your life. More you live in an objective world, definitely you will have a more dispassion, and more you will have equanimity also of the mind, etc. It will come. So everything has objective value, and we should not give more value than that. Then if you give, it becomes a longing. So simple desire is called non-binding desire, and longing is called binding desire. That's the difference. So simple desire means, you have a desire for a food, you have a desire for drinks, etc. Drink means water, etc. And those things are for livelihood. You have a desire. Many objects you have to acquire from the world. So those things is not considered as those things are not opposed. Those desires are not opposed. But if you have a binding desire means what? Without this, I cannot survive. If you think so, without this, I cannot survive. Without this, I cannot remain. Well, then it is a binding. It is binding. It's because you are bound by that. And that is just due to a subjective value imposed upon by you to the object. See, this is so one kind of a desire which is a longing, which is called longing. In raga, the word, there is another thing also. Holding on to the object which I acquire. Once I have an intense desire for getting the object, that's one thing. The second thing is holding on to that. Also is there. And holding on to something also indicates a lack of vairagyam. And it may be money, power, people, everything, or some situation. All this, you hold on to the thing because you add a value. Definitely, again, you add a value to something. And unfortunately, it doesn't have. Unfortunately, it doesn't have. Whatever value you add, it doesn't have. It has a certain objective value, but more than that, it is not there. And therefore, if you hold on to something, it is a lack of vairagyam. If you want to acquire intensely, you have intense desire to acquire it, also indicates a lack of vairagyam. So when you become free from this, definitely you have a Vairagya. You become free from the attitude of holding on to it. You become free from the longing also. You have a Vairagya. Now here, they have in the definition, they say Iha Swarga Bhogeshu Ichcharahityam. Iha means in this world. And Swarga Bhogeshu means also belong to the Swarga, the heaven. So if I am going to think that heaven is going to save me, then definitely it is not going to save. Even in the heaven also, it would be, if you go there as an individual, you are going to remain as an individual. As I told you yesterday, if you go to heaven as an imperfect person, you will see everywhere in the heaven also, you will see imperfection. And therefore, you also come down. That is a Shastra only. That you come down as an individual also. And you live again as an individual. You have gone to Swarga and came back. You went as an individual, came back as an individual. So Swarga has not done an addition in terms of giving you perfection kind of a thing. And therefore for Swarga Bhogas also, for enjoyments, Bhoga means enjoyments. Enjoyments belong to the Swarga, the heaven. Also I don't have any longing. And that is, we have to depend upon Shastra, because no one goes and tells and comes back. But this Shastra says like that one goes there and comes back, and then again starts the journey as a samsara, a life of becoming again starts. So for heaven also, there is for the enjoyments of the heaven also we have like this. Then, Iha Bhoga. Suppose someone says that, Swamiji, I am not interested in heavenly objects because I don't know whether it is there or not. That itself. So sometime what happens is, because we feel that we have a dispassion for enjoyments of the heaven. But actually we don't have that much trust also that such kind of thing is there or not. If it is there, if we are confirmed, then definitely, and the objects if we come to know. Unless you know the objects, you will not desire. You will always desire for an object which you know, right? And therefore, the Swarga itself is not known, the objects of Swargas are also not known, and we may not have that much Shraddha also perhaps. Then in that case, automatic Vairagyam will be there. Freedom from longing for those objects will be there. But this text of course takes into account that one has a faith in what Shastra says, and therefore we believe it also. And these worlds will be there. How can you say, Swamiji, you have got? No, not that way. See, what happens is all these worlds, they give, Shankaracharya ji gives this, not Adi Shankaracharya, but current one Shankaracharya gives this reason for this, very beautiful reason. He says, forget about that other worlds. But you will move from one world to other world. How do you move? How do you experience the different worlds in this life? You experience. Like if you give up the identification with this gross body and enters into some subtle body, this gross but subtle form, then you experience the subtle world called dream world. If you are awake and identified with this body, you cannot experience the dream world and the fascinations of the dream world, of course. They will not be there. And if you want to experience this world, you have to give up the identification with that subtle form. The subtle body. Subtle body means not that, but this subtle form of the gross body, which is there inside. So you have to give the identification of that body and enter into this body. Then you experience this world. So then he says you are moving in the different worlds. So for that appropriate body should be there. And this for experiencing gross world, you should have a gross body. Identification with the gross body, and for experiencing the subtle world you should have identification with the subtle form of the gross body. Well, and therefore other worlds also may be there, and right now here, not that somewhere up. It's all everything in the universe. It's in the space, and therefore it must be here, but you have to experience it. Why? How to experience? You should give up this body and take up a particular body suitable to experience a particular world, Swarga, etc. Then you definitely experience. So that makes a sense. This is how it is accepted. Anyway, so Iha Bhogeshu Ichcha. Iha means here. Bhogeshu means enjoyments. Enjoyments belong to this world. There could be Ichcha there could be a desire for this. But as I told you, simple desire in this world, well, of course it is, they will be there, those desires will be there, but especially the strong desires or the binding desires or intense desire, called longings also, well, you have to come out of it. Because, so you have to convert a binding desire into a simple desire. How will you convert? Means you keep the desire. You keep the desire. Without desire, there will not be a difference between you and the other, like a stone. It doesn't have a desire. So you should have a desire. But you should not have a binding desire. That's all it means. But how to convert binding desire into a non-binding desire? For that, the therapy has been given by Bhagavan in chapter 2. That's called Karma Yoga. If you want to convert a binding desire into non-binding, then you have to remove the bondage, it means. Binding means what? The bondage is there. And the bondage is nothing but likes and dislikes. They compel you to fulfill the desire. So those likes and dislikes, you will have to come out of the hold of those likes and dislikes. And come out of the hold means likes, dislikes will remain. There also again. People think that I should become free from likes and dislikes. It is never possible. Never possible. So likes, dislikes will be there. I like banana, you like orange, fine, it is good. Puja Swami used to tell like that, and that's good. Because otherwise everyone likes banana, there would be scarcity of banana. I mean, so it's good. I like idli, you like dosa, whatever. It's good. But it's a compel. That compels you without fulfillment. Well, without this my life will be empty. Today I have not got the dosa in the morning, and therefore I won't have any mood in the whole day. That kind of a problem. That's called binding. You have to. So when it is there, you enjoy it, and you express your desire also to somebody, cook, etc. That why don't we have dosa? Suppose I am saying that, and he says, okay, let me see. And then for 3 days he doesn't answer anything. And I feel, when will I get it? When will I get it? Then it is binding, definitely binding. Well, you have a desire and you fulfill also. You put some effort also, no problem. But because to fulfill desire, one has to definitely put effort. Without putting effort, and in terms of action, etc., you cannot get a result of an action. And therefore, definitely you should have it also. But convert these binding desires into non-binding, and the therapy is, because the action is required to fulfill the desire, in action also certain attitude is added by which the binding desire gets converted to non-binding. Could you follow what I am saying? And therefore this is how it is said. So that is not a part of this right now, so we will not go into much detail of Karma Yoga, etc. This is just a narration of all the qualities. Anyway, so you will have then definitely, you have a desire, but you have objectivity also. And then your mind is available for moksha, because there is nothing which haunts your mind. So even though there are desires, still your mind is available for this pursuit, because viveka is there, and then followed by vairagya also is there. Vairagya is just an outcome of it. Then life becomes yoga. Definitely, life becomes yoga. To get a dispassion, one should be a karma yogi. Without that, it is very difficult. So you are connected to the action, and with a certain attitude, then it becomes yoga. Yoga means a connectivity. Yuj dhatu has a meaning to connect, basically. So you are connected to action with a certain attitude, then it becomes karma yoga. You are connected to Ishvara, to make yourself free from the hold of this likes and dislikes. Well, that's also karma yoga. Because without Ishvara, there is no karma yoga. With Ishvara is a big, cushion for us to get this kind of an attitude in our mind. Because so you have that Ishvara, Atma Buddhi, etc. You might have heard, perhaps, I don't know, but you offer your actions to Ishvara, and then whatever comes result, you take it as a grace of Ishvara. And so that's how action and result of action, you take it through Ishvara, everything. You connect to Ishvara. That's how the action is there. But you connect to Ishvara, therefore it becomes karma yoga. So that is how they say. And vairagya, for that there is some problem also, there is some misconception also. It is commonly understood as a running away from an object. Well, that is not a healthy vairagya. When you turn away from everything, from which you turn away, that thing follows you. And whatever you turn away, we carry in our head. And so we have kept it a particular object, we have turned away from particular object living in India. And then the object has traveled all along in flight also, and it has come here also. And it is staying with me right now. I'm just saying. So definitely, that's not an vairagyam. That kind of a vairagyam has been shown in with a particular master. I would not name it, but it has been shown like that. That he has a vairagya for a money. How do you know? Because his disciple has put a coin under the pillow of that master when he's in the bed, and when he went there for taking good sleep, etc. He could not sleep, and therefore definitely since he could not sleep, there must be something which makes him uneasy. And then he just pulled out the pillow, and then he saw a coin there. That's the reason. And the Shishya was watching from the window, and see, my master is having a great vairagyam for the wealth, because in its presence he could not sleep. That's not the case. That's not the case. If you have a vairagyam, because since you don't superimpose anything on it, or you are not fascinated by the thing, then the thing may lie here or it may lie there. What does it make difference? In fact, in our own homes, in our houses, there are so many things by which you are not fascinated. They are lying here and there. Sometimes it come across while you go out and come inside. They are just, you will see it day in and day out. But you know what's its value, and right now you don't need whatever it can give you. That right now you don't need. The things are lying there. There's a dispassion. So many things have gone away from us. We never thought of giving up. Have gone away. And if they go like this, they never return. If you turn away, well, they will follow you. If you turn away, they will follow you. If things themselves decide to go away from you, that will not remain in your mind. Many things we have dropped, so-called dropped. Basically, they have gone in our life. Because now they no more serve any purpose for us. No more fascination for the things. It has a certain objective value, but I don't need right now that object with its value. So then it goes away. So here basically this kind of a dispassion is when the things you are in the midst of the things, and still you discover certain objectivity towards everything. Well, you have a healthy attitude towards the entire world. That's called objectivity or dispassion. And in relationship also, it is there. See, they say all pursuits here means including marriage also. Other pursuits are also there. Marriage also is one of the pursuits. And marriage and other pursuits become yoga when we have a certain objectivity. Pujya Swami used to tell that, the marriage itself, it's a different relationship, but particular relationship called marriage. With respect to that also you can become objective. Sometimes it happens, you see, we want to turn away from the marriage. It's just, by the way, we are not concerned. But I'm just talking an example. So for marriage also, there is always a tendency after certain years that I want to turn away now. I want to have a space, or I want to be away from this married life, or something. So there also there is no dispassion, definitely no dispassion. So you may not be knowing the objective value of a marriage. You have, there is subjectivity involved. Earlier you were having some fascination about the marriage, and which marriage could not fulfill, being a fascination. Well, now you got disgust that now you want to turn away from this. Well, then there is no objectivity, no vairagyam even towards the married life. Pujya Swamiji says that if marriage, you look upon marriage as a end in your life, well, marriage will end. Then, you look upon it as a goal. I want to marry and, something. If you don't, through marriage you want to achieve something, objectivity, etc., that's a different thing. but you look upon marriage as just a end of your life, goal of your life, well, marriage will not be successful, because your goal of life is depending upon your basic desire, basic urge, and that urge is something very big, which marriage cannot fulfill. Marriage can become, say, means by which, I mean, when two people are living together, in India especially, this is a very beautiful thing. Any marriage takes place in presence of many people, and including all the devatas also, they invite. They will be there, they won't come for lunch, but they... very sumptuous lunch is there, but they won't come. But they are invited by the priest before marriage happens. And, well, all relatives will be there definitely. And even the Agni Devata, the fire, also we have invoked, and so he is also there. In presence of all, this bridegroom asked to the bride about to fulfill 7 promises, one by one. And she asks, and he says yes. Then second promise, she asks, then he says yes. And lastly, all 7 are over. Then he asked to her that you will be with me all, and you will not hide this matter, etc., etc., etc. For a common goal, we will work together and all that. And one of that promises that we will be having a very good friendship for a common goal, because we are moving on the same path, having a common goal, so we will move like a friends. So that's a very big thing. So this is called Saptapadi. Saptapadi means 7 promises I've been taken by a groom, from a bride side to the groom, and groom lastly asks also to the bride also. And in that is one of the promises of friendship. So if in a marriage there is a tendency of a friendship, well, it will sustain. If there is a tendency of a superiority or something, or controlling something on the name of a love, etc., well, it's going to end very soon. It's going to end. So whenever the control, attitude of control comes, definitely she will say, who are you to control me? In this society, we also have equal rights. And like that. I don't know about this here, but in India, always the males have a tendency to show the supremacy in the married life. And so he always feels that, the decisions should be taken by him. Actually, the promise was given by this groom to the bride in the marriage, that I will not take any decision independently. I will take you into confidence about any decision of our life, and then we will implement. And now he doesn't fulfill. And therefore, an imbalance arises. But Indian marriage is still, a pulling on and drag and etc. It will be there, in as much as, because lots of witnesses were there during that time, including devatas and relatives and all, and then they will ask you, what happened to you? That time you were saying this is a very good thing and all that. What happened to your married life now? And therefore, this is, they just, they continue with even this fractured heart. They continue. But otherwise it can become a yoga. This also can become a yoga. And well, if you have an attitude of this yoga, definitely in married life also, you will not have a sense of turning away. And so that's a vairagam even for the marriage. Anyway, so it may be a marriage or maybe any meaningful pursuit. It becomes they are just a means. The end only is one. That's how the Viveka has come first. Moksha is a means. Everything else is just a means. Dharma also is a means. Artha also. Wealth, etc. is just a means. Kama also, different pleasures, etc. we have. Well, it's a means. Then pleasures also is a means for moksha? Yeah, it's a means for moksha. In order to get dispassion. That what you enjoyed till today, they are all impermanent. And your heart is seeking something permanent. Basically, you want to get freedom from the not happy self. Discomfort, one feels discomfort with oneself. Basically, I want to come out of it. Then you can discover this once you have acquired certain objects and have enjoyed them, and then you can discover this. And therefore, even Arthakama can become means to ultimately to lead you towards a goal, lastly, moksha. Therefore, it is good. So all are means. Other than moksha, everything is a means. Moksha is the end. Well, that's how, if your attitude is there, well, everything works out. You have objective value for everything. But if you feel the moksha is given by kama and moksha is given by artha, well, confusion. But we don't have it is there. You have a sense of insecurity. You want to get a freedom from insecurity, right? That's moksha. You want freedom. But do you consider something as a source of security, wealth, etc.? Well, you have put an extra value on it. You have superimposed which is not there. And therefore, then imbalances will be there. So you have not looked upon wealth as a just means, wealth as an end. For many people, wealth is an end because security is an end. Freedom from insecurity is an end basically. But he thinks that wealth makes wealth gives me freedom from insecurity. And that's how they are running behind the money. Anyway, so this is how when in pursuits, you clearly know that this dharma, artha, kama are just means and moksha is the goal. Well, you have discerned this way. I mean, you have done a discriminative inquiry, then the outcome will be vairagyam. So you will not look upon them you will not throw them out, but you will look upon them as a means. Earlier you were looking upon them as an end. Now you are looking upon them as an end. That's all. End becomes means. That's objective value. Means become end, subjective value. Means itself becomes end in your life. Goal becomes life. Well, you should not, I mean, it is too much for them to fulfill your promise. Your promise, because it doesn't give you. Because the basic problem is with the oneself that he wants just a freedom. Freedom from insecurity, freedom from this not being happy self, etc. And that doesn't go by acquiring whatever you do. And therefore they are just means, they are not the ends. Otherwise I would acquire a particular thing and I will get a freedom from insecurity. I would acquire another thing, I would get a freedom from not happy self, unhappy self, but I have discovered that it has never occurred so. Well, then it is, so you get automatically dispassion for objects. They are just a means, then it is an objective value for them. Anyway, this is, I think, is enough in Vairagya. We have discussed enough in that. And more you will discover. More you go ahead, different facets of Vairagya will come. That's promise. Beautiful things will come. But this right now we know this much, that this is how it has been said. Iha swarga bhogeshu ichcha rahityam. Ichcha means that longing, basically. Rahityam means absence. Absence of a longing or a binding desire towards the enjoyment of this world, iha, or towards the enjoyments of other world, heaven, etc. Now we'll go ahead. Shamadhi sadhana sampatti ka shamodama uparama shamodamaha uparamaha titiksha shraddha samadhanam cheti. Now, so Viveka, Vairagya, so from these fourfold qualifications we have completed two. The third one is a group. We know that this Samadhi sadhana sampatti ka, this sixfold accomplishment of sadhana of Shama are what? Means what is Shama, what is Dama, what is Uparama, etc., etc. Then each one will be, first it is enumerated here, and then each one will be given then definition of each one will be given. Shamaha. Shamaha means a peace, inner peace of the, that's the mind. Damaha means what? Control of the sense organs, external organs. And Uparamaha means, here, the definition of Uparama has been given in different texts, different Prakarana Granthas differently. In Vivek Chudamani is entirely different. And here in Tattva Bodha it is different. Then there is another text called Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Sara Sangra. That's also a very beautiful text. And in that also, the Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti has been discussed very elaborately. There the definition of Uparama, etc. is different. And so they give a little new view. So you will have always a fresh view about these things. So here Uparama means you observe your own duties. That's all. What we are supposed to be done, you are alert to that, to come and do that. Titiksha is just an endurance. And Shraddha means a faith. We call trust, etc. But that's a Shraddha. Samadhanam cha means end, last one. Cha means end. And the last one is a Samadhanam means Samadhihi, single pointedness. Iti. This iti means thus. Iti indicates before iti you will have whatever is there you put in inverted comma. These are the sixfold qualifications. Iti indicates it is over now. All the sixfold we have enumerated. And to indicate that they put the word iti. Thus these sixfold qualifications are there. So now first we will see Shamaha. Shamah kaha Mano nigraha. Shamaha means a peace, as I told you. It also means peace of the mind is equal to equanimity of the mind. Peace does not mean that you do not have any thoughts. Well, that's an undesirable thing in Vedanta. Undesirable. If it is slowly moving towards, the mind is moving towards a state in which the thoughts are going away, well, you have to be alert, very much alert. That shows you are moving towards dullness, basically. Because mind is, the active. When mind is active, means it thinks of many things. That is considered the health. Like the monkey. When it is restless, but still that is his health. Same way the mind also is restless, means it moves around. Thinks of varieties of the objects, well, it is considered a very healthy mind. So instead it is becoming a silent, like a monkey becomes a silent. Then definitely you have to show to a veterinary doctor in terms of monkey. But here you have to be alert. At least you should talk to your teacher. Whoever are there, you should talk immediately that my mind slowly, Swamiji, whatever you say, I don't think at all. Nothing, no thought occurs in my mind. Well, then it's something, then some practices are needed in order to make it active. And then only by changing a certain lifestyle you get it. Sometimes, even the habit of a food also can bring it back. Pranayama, etc. Even asanas also definitely help. All this help to a very great extent to bring the mind again to the healthy state. Definitely they help. So, Mano Nigraha means, as I said, it is equanimity of the mind. Peace of the mind means equanimity of the mind, poise of the mind. In modern language, they means which is free from the stress and strain. That's all it means, they call. And stress is really a big problem in today's society. Now the second question is, why Shama is so important? Then answer is, see, when the mind is stressed or anxious, it becomes a burden. It becomes a burden. And so, there is a saying also in Sanskritam, Ashantasya manobharaha. Ashantasya manobharaha means for a person who does not have a peace of the mind is a burden. Bharaha means a burden. Ashantasya means the person who has a ashanta, one person who has a basically a anxiousness, etc. Definitely, that's the mind. That mind itself is a burden. So, and that for the person who is having such a kind of a mind with a lot of burden, for him the life also is a burden. That's how most of the people who definitely do not know about how to tackle the mind, so that we can bring it to the equanimity. They say, if you ask them how is the life, they never say that it is wonderful. They say it is pulling on, we are pulling on, we are dragging on, we are surviving, all this kind of. In Hindi they say like that, chalta hai. They say word, chalta hai. It's very common in India. If you say, how are you? How is your life? Say, chalta hai. means we are pulling on. So when the person pulls on, definitely he has a burden. When you have a burden, you just have to pull yourself, because you cannot walk very, smoothly. And therefore, definitely this mind is a burden, basically. When you say life is a burden, means mind is a burden, basically. So that's how it is said. So here it has been dealt with. Manonigraha means it has been shown as a quality that one who has a peace of the mind, he has a shama. And when the mind enjoys peace and freedom from stress, the mind is a light mind. We call it light mind. And the journey of life really become enjoyable. And only such a light mind can be used to accomplish the goals of life. It may be a material goal or it may be a spiritual goal. That's how it has been narrated here. Even to acquire a material goal, of course, for a human being only this is told, because human mind is a very evolved mind. And with this evolved mind, he can acquire so many kinds of material goals and spiritual goal also. To such a human being, it is told that you should have a very light mind, even you want to accomplish something. Because to accomplish these ends or goals, you have to use this instrument. And if the instrument itself has a lot of burden, then definitely you cannot use it. Like weapon. You have a weapon, right? For some purpose. And if weapon itself is such, its weight is such, that you cannot even lift it, where is the question of using? If you can't lift it itself, then where is the question of using? If weapon is light, you can lift it also, and you can use it also effectively. Same way, if this has a burden, if it is not light, it is very heavy, then definitely you cannot use this for any goal. Even in the material goal also, I will tell you, even in today's world, for achievement they have come down ultimately to this mind only. Earlier intellect, but now they have come down to the emotional quotient, etc. So they have come down to this level now. So basically, the mind should be light if we want to achieve. It is called instrument. And what kind of instrument? It is an inner instrument for gaining the goal. And it is called antah-karanam. Antah means inside and karanam means instrument. So, so manas shanti, this peace basically is required even for, to enjoy the life as well as to achieve the goals of life. Even it has been told now that if you want to maintain your health, physical health, you definitely need this kind of a mind, because the person who is having a lot of stress, in course of time, that stress bring diabetes, stress bring all kinds of problems. Even the different other vital organs also are affected with the stress. I have seen people who are under stress for a certain length of time develop a sugar problem. I have seen them. Even though otherwise they were very healthy people, no history. Generally diabetes has a history that it comes hereditary. But nothing. Still they gain it because of the stress, with the burden they gain. So physical problems also are arising because of this only. So physical health also requires stress-free mind. And intellectual accomplishment also require this mind. If mind is disturbed, it happens so, this is just by the way I'm sharing with you. See, what happens, when you have to speak something, then definitely you become too conscious to speak. And you have prepared well. Everything prepared well, point-wise, everything. And then you sit and you can think, all the points are coming to your mind. And then you enter here. You find a lot of people sitting and you become too conscious. Your mind becomes agitated. And when you sit, no point comes to your mind. So intellectual abilities you have, but intellectual health you are not able to enjoy because the mind has a certain stress, certain agitation. And therefore, not only physical health, intellectual health also is, definitely it requires this kind of a stress-free mind. They give an example of a computer. That computer has a very, very big hard disk. and in which there is a beautiful data. If it is 1 terabyte hard disk it has, you can, in my language, so you can think that way, other way also. But it has a hard disk and it's over 1 terabyte. And it filled with lot of data, lots of BBC movies and whatnot, National Geographic. And you want to tap it. But suppose there is a virus in that, it will not allow. So virus makes the knowledge of the computer inaccessible to you. Is it right? Same way. This stress is a virus here. You have a lot of data inside. You have arranged everything before you come here. You arrange everything. And when you enter here, the virus does not allow this access to the person, speaker, of his own data. That's how it is. So important, you understand that. And that is why all the management gurus today, earlier they were talking about IQs, intelligent quotient. Now nobody talks. They say more, in fact, if you want to tap your intelligent quotient, your capabilities of intelligence, you should have an emotional quotient. They are talking about EQ now. So EQ is more important compared to even IQ. They have realized now the importance of mind. Earlier they were saying, what is mind? Ultimately intellect only is a supreme thing and etc. But they have realized whatever the capabilities you have in your intellect, they will not be of use if the mind is agitated. And therefore, mano nigraha. So this peace of the mind is very, very important. And of course, for a spiritual life, it is important. That's how it has been narrated here. So all the way it is important. And so in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan said at one place, if you have a shantihi, then you will be able to enjoy anything in life, including your life, or the goal which you gain is nothing but the happiness, that also you will gain it. So shantihi, Bhagavan said at one place, shantihi there means the peace of the mind only. And so we should learn to enjoy this poised mind. And of course here the method has not been told. And I am also not going into the method how to bring the peace of the mind. That's a matter of a subject matter of the Bhagavad Gita. Because I said peace of the mind is equated to with equanimity of the mind. And equanimity of the mind is handled in the chapter 2, in the later portion, in the Karma Yoga section. And of course, Upasana also will help a little bit. So this Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga, they help to bring the peace of the mind. And it is a matter of a subject matter of the Bhagavad Gita. So right now I am not discussing. I am just narrating what is the peace of the mind. So basically, peace of the mind also it is called stress management in modern world. So we understand that. Now Damaha. Damaha means Indriya Nigraha. Nigraha means you control. Sensory control. Indriya means senses. So Indriya Nigraha means a sensory mastery over your senses or a control over your senses. And of course here it has been told, let's first read it. Damakaha Chakshuradi Bahendriya Nigraha. So, Bahya Indriya Nigraha. Bahya Indriya means external sense organs. External instruments, we should say. Because first has come internal instrument. Manaha is an internal instrument. This is an external instrument. The senses are external instrument. And the control or the mastery over external sense instruments, sense organs. And also said Chakshuradi. So Adi Padat we will have to take again. We will have to pull the members of the same group again. So Adi always brings other members which have not been mentioned. Adi means etc. Etc. means what? You have to pull the members of the same family. So Chakshu is a family comes in a sense organ. Well, other. Sense organ of perception, Chakshu. Well, other. So all other sense organs. Eyes, ears, nose, skin and tongue. They should be taken. So Adi means you bring. And that's how I said this Chakshu is called Upalakshanam. It's called Upalakshanam indicator. It indicates other members. Because many kinds of groups are there. This Chakshu has to indicate a particular group. and that group is sense organs of perception, basically. Now the question is, what is this control? Nigraha means control, or let us say mastery. What is this control or management or mastery over the sense organs? What is it? So we have already, of course, this Nigraha has come already. But here in Vedanta, one thing is there, control does not mean suppression. That's a beautiful thing. And that's where the struggle is. If control means suppression, then we find they are not under control. And that brings a lot of, mental problems also later. So, our scriptures always believe that there should not be a suppression of a senses or even of a mind. So, why? Because any form of suppression is dangerous, basically because it has a potential to explode. And therefore, control means we'll have to intelligently channelizing them. Channelizing the energies of the senses. Basically, it's called control here. Channelizing. If you remember when discussing about Upasana Yoga, somewhere in the initial lectures, I mentioned Upasana, through the Upasana, you channelize your mental abilities. And that time I gave an example, if I remember so, that a dam, if you put a dam on a river, then definitely two purposes are served. One is that, the water which was just going to the sea and getting wasted away, instead now you have put a block. So you will not allow the waste. And after that, the same water you utilize for a farming, etc. and all that. So you channelize that. So same way, mental abilities also we can channelize through Upasana, and our senses also abilities, sensory energy we can channelize, and that process is called Damaha, basically. And few more things are there. So we give a particular direction, So we should not allow them to decide, basically. We should not allow them to decide what data has to come. I should decide and channelize them for a particular data from the world to come in. That's what it means. Damaha means this. Why it is like that? Let it come. You keep the senses open. See, the senses are considered as a gates. They are called dvaraha. Sarvadvarani sanyamya yaste manasa smaran, etc. Bhagavan also calls them as a gates. When the gates are there and if they are open, then anything and anybody can come. And anything and anybody can come, then security problem will arise. Security problem arises, and therefore it has to be controlled. There should be metal detectors before you enter into the different gates of in an airport, and therefore there is a security check, and that security check should be there. That security check is nothing but the Damaha. Otherwise, what happens is once they enter, it will make the mind turbulent. It is happening. The data arises coming through these gates, makes the mind turbulent, and therefore we should channelize them. Certain things only should enter, certain things should not be entered. After passing to the metal detector, some of the things we should tell them to remove, or some people are told to go away because they could create a threat to the entire flight. And therefore, here also our mind also comes under threat. And therefore, the gates, you should have some check. The check in the gates is called Damaha. That's how it means. Check in the gates. This is called Damaha. Well, and therefore, one example I will give you, just a simple example. Like you have come here. Your senses are here. Mind also is here. But senses along with the mind can go away. Physically you are here, but this can go away. Right? And if it can go away, you won't get an advantage of the listening. And the benefit of knowledge also you won't get. So definitely there is a lack of Damaha. But you suppose you decide and tell this, your sense organ, to be here. And if they remain for at least 1 hour, particular sense called a sense of hearing, if they remain here along with the mind, then definitely that is called Damaha. you are able to control, you are able to channelize your sensory energy for a particular purpose, for a constructive purpose. That's how it is called Damaha. So, otherwise sense organs, if they are not here, if they are not cooperative, you will be here, but you will not hear. That would be the case. You will be here, but you will not hear. So that problem will arise. So if you have a sense control, definitely you will be here and you will hear also. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.